All right. Start of a new sports talk show from a
Yeah.
great new
Yeah.
perspective. College Guys Talkin Ball. Welcome in episode
Welcome
one.
in, baby.
Episode one. My name is Ethan Cole. I am a student at Georgia Southern. As you can see on the top, I've got my first
Yeah.
guest. Hope to
I'm
be a
TJ.
recurring guest. My roommate. Go ahead.
I'm TJ French. I'm his roommate. So excited to be here, and I also attend Georgia Southern. So
Yeah, we got the GS on, but
yeah,
we're very
we're some ball fans.
worldwide with some teams. So you'll see. We're excited
Yeah.
for the
So
product.
why are we doing this? Why are we doing this, Ethan?
Man, that's a good question. I think me and TJ realize we've lived together for 2 years now, and all we do is talk ball. We talk baseball. We talk football.
Yeah.
We talk basketball. We even talk some puck sometimes.
Some
You
puck.
know, when the time is right. So I thought to myself one day, man, let's start a podcast. And everybody always, I'm sure you've had some friends out there, uh, who said they wanted to start a podcast and it never ever materializes. But today we finally start with our podcast, and it's College Guys Talking
Yeah.
Ball, episode one. Let's do it.
Starting now.
All right, man. So currently Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. We just saw I don't know if I'd call it a doozy last night, but all
Yeah.
49ers, TJ. What'd you think?
All 49ers for sure. It was a great game, fun to watch for sure. Uh, Definitely thought the Rams had a chance there at the end, but turnover problems. Stafford didn't look good at all. Rams didn't look good. I mean, I would say for sure, though, still give the credit to the 49ers. They played great defense. Jimmy Garoppolo did enough. Um, so, yeah, that's to our first question. You think it's more Stafford and the Rams' performance that causes them to lose this game, or the Niners and their coach and quarterback?
Man, I think it's a combination of the schemes of the two teams. You see the Rams, they like to throw it around a lot. They try to act like they're physical. Ramsey tries to act like he's a physical football player. Ramsey ain't a physical football player. I saw Samuel run through him like he was a
He did.
running back running through an arm tackle. I mean, that's a 57-yard catch and run by
Yeah.
a
And
guy.
Debo Samuel didn't even mention him. Had a phenomenal game.
Didn't even mention him. And Garoppolo, the thing about Garoppolo is he just is there. And they
Was there.
have such a smash mouth physical type of game is that the Rams just don't match up well with the 49ers, and they never
No.
have, and they may never, unless they
Yeah.
get some semblance of a run game and some semblance of an offensive line to like we
Yep.
talked about last night, man. We're trying to name out superstars on the Niners, and they've got a couple. They've got Warner, they've got Bosa, but other than
They've
that,
got
they
a
just got
solid
some
team.
physical guys.
Yeah. Definitely.
Physical guys. And
Definitely.
to your
Very,
point
very
about
solid squad.
Stafford, I mean, Stafford won a ring, but is it Matt Stafford, or are we gonna
Yeah.
get,
Well,
are you
I
gonna throw
mean,
it to anybody but Cup? You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Well,
So
and Cup, 14 receptions last night. Great game. Stafford tried to find him for the 15th and pick six. And 49ers end up winning. So give all the credit to the 49ers for sure.
So personally, this is my second time. I'm not sure if they played on Monday night last year. Was it Monday night? Was it Thursday? It was a
Could have
primetime
been.
game.
Could have been.
Primetime game. And this is my second time betting on Matthew Stafford and the Rams to beat the Niners. And clearly,
Yeah.
I hadn't learned my lesson up to last night. It's all good. Had a good week, but
Yeah.
would have liked to end on a bang with the Rams, taking home the win. And it felt good. The Rams were actually underdogs in this game, 2-point underdogs, and I felt good on the money line. But man, the
Okay. So
Niners.
I mean, what has it been, 7 in a row now?
It's 7 of 8.
Do you think they
7 of
own
8.
them?
I mean, the question for you, I guess, is to answer your question. I'll ask you a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
In this next matchup,
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you're
the
you're
Rams.
thinking Niners, right? Or no? You're thinking Rams.
Well, the Rams have to win. It'll be um in Los Angeles, obviously. Hopefully, it'll be probably down the road. Probably play later in the year. I mean, the Rams have to show up. They can't lose twice to them in the division. It's a big thing, who's the pick in the NOS, no one knows. So that's the only thing though. Um, I would definitely consider it ownage. However, the next matchup, I mean, got to go with the Rams still. I think still have to go with the Rams. They won the Super Bowl. They got a very savvy offensive minded coach. I think they should be able to take care of business. But that being said, I thought the Rams should have won last night easily, and they didn't. They got shown up, but that's that.
The thing is that you could call it ownage when you
Yeah,
win
it's
7 straight regular season games. But the
yeah,
thing is, there's one game in the middle there, and that's the biggest game they played, and the Rams came out on top. Although
yeah.
the Rams were
No, that is
favored then, and they were the better
yeah.
football team, and they clearly won a Super Bowl. You want to say that the Niners own the Rams, but what matters? Rings,
Well, I think
wins in the playoffs.
we'd have to see him face off again for sure in the playoffs, but we will see it again, and I'm sure we'll cover that game for sure. It'll be a big game. All right,
Absolutely.
now on to Garoppolo. I mean, he looks good. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not gonna, I was just wanted to get your take. Think he's legit or not? I certainly legit is kind of a strong word. I'm still on the fence, but he's definitely showing that he can be a contender in the NFC.
Well, I guess when you say legit, let's name a couple of quarterbacks. Okay,
Yeah.
today. So we'll talk about some other teams, some other quarterbacks later. But for this conversation, who are you taking today to win a Super Bowl? Matt Ryan or Jimmy Garoppolo? Just say the name, and then we're gonna keep going.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Duh.
Okay. Are you taking Jimmy Garoppolo, or are you taking Russell Wilson today?
Garoppolo.
Okay, one more.
Okay, hold on. Back to that point. I'll say Garoppolo because they just played each other, and Denver won. It's like 9-7, whatever. It was one of the worst football games I ever watched. Jimmy didn't play great for
11
sure.
to 10. 11 to 10.
11-10, yeah. So Jimmy didn't play good at all, but he got those reps, looked way better. And at some point, they'll play a lesser opponent, and we'll see what happens then.
See if
he can really light it up.
Yeah, light it up. I think that's the thing that Garoppolo's always missed is that, man, he gets wins. I mean, I guess what? He's 32-15 now as a 49er starter, but
yeah,
dude, he's never had that game where, you're watching Sunday Night Football and you're watching those highlights of, the 1 o'clock, 425 games. And, oh my gosh, Garoppolo's got 4 or 5 touchdowns. Now, I could be mistaken. I'm sure he's got some big games in his career, but it almost feels like you're always seeing the Lamars, the Allens, with the big games. But that being said, the Lamars and the Allens haven't played a Super Bowl yet, which is the argument about Garoppolo. And I guess, like you said, it's it's yet to be determined. It's a second game back, so
it's a great argument he had for sure. And so I think I mean, on the course that we're going, both teams probably should make the playoffs. So then there's a chance that they face off.
And you know how that goes. It always seems to come around to a matchup like that. So I guess on to Sunday.
Yeah, let's move on here.
The Monday it was a good matchup, but more or less all Niners. So let's go to Sunday, man. TJ, what you got for me?
All right. Bucks and Chiefs, baby. Biggest game, Sunday Night Football. And it was kind of trouncing. So are we giving up on the Bucks, or are we putting all of our chips into the Chiefs. What do you think about this one?
Ah, giving up
Tough
on the
question.
Bucks. I mean, you know, like I said, we're just riding on the gym, and I
Yeah,
mean, Giselle's giving the divorce lawyers. I mean, everybody wants to count
yeah,
Brady out,
for sure.
and when you put up that performance, you almost want to do it yourself. But I mean, let's be honest. I'm a
Yeah.
Falcons fan. I've seen it. You can laugh all you want, but I'm not going to give up on the Bucks. But that being said, I'm very high on the
All
Chiefs.
right. Yeah, so I'll go and agree with you. I'm gonna give up on the Bucks as well, and I'm gonna say that just because I don't think I can put all my chips into the Chiefs just yet. Very tough AFC. They'll have a hard road, a lot of tough games to be played. That being said, with the Bucks, I just don't think that they can go all the way. I think NFC has some better teams, most notably probably the Packers. You look up the Vikings are 3-1, Eagles are 4-0, Dallas is 3-1. So kind of find yourself a little bit behind in that division or in that conference, and I don't think you want to do that. But on the other hand, Brady is still Brady. I think, despite the skepticism that you just said, still had a great game,
Good
385
defense.
yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. I mean, that's pretty good. Um, he has almost 1,100 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. So,
Still, I mean, I guess is it unfair for us to expect a 45-year-old to throw for the
it's
NFL
definitely not
lead every
unfair.
year?
On the other hand, though, he was playing Patrick Mahomes, who just razzles and dazzles every time he steps on the field, just answers every question. It's just kind of unbelievable. And do you think that anyone can stop the Chiefs' offense?
No. I mean,
No.
but nobody stopped the Chiefs in 3-4 years. I mean, that's just the
Yeah.
truth. I mean, that's just the truth. So, I guess our takeaway is that maybe I'm not fully giving up on the Buccaneers, but there's Jack. There's our roommate Jack right there.
Yeah. Jack, do you have anything? Have anything you want to input? Maybe. Okay. That's.
He'll be on. He'll be on another episode very
He'll
soon.
be on.
So
He'll be on for sure.
he loves some ball. So all right, on to the next. On to the next from Sunday. Lamar. You want to talk about the Ravens, and you'll see how high I am on the Ravens here in a second. But let's talk about Lamar Jackson, man. I mean, that's a guy that they've given up some leads this year, man. But that dude is playing at an MVP level. And I guess my question for you is, do these blown leads make Lamar, if he doesn't get his deal, if he doesn't get his money, look elsewhere a little bit more? Or is
Uh,
that a reach?
I'm gonna go with a little bit of a reach here. I think he probably will stay in Baltimore just because, that's just he's that guy that wants to build it from the ground up, and that's where it's been. And then, maybe hopefully the Ravens defense can round into like what we've seen in the past, and then maybe they can get some additions, here and there, big contributions from guys. Their secondary is not good. They just get gutted
They
again
get
and
done.
again and again. We saw it. We just saw it by Josh Allen and the Bills late in the game, and then we also saw it by Tua in the fourth quarter, just lights out. I will say about this game though, I mean, just as high as you are on Lamar, I'm that high on Josh Allen. Just phenomenal what he's been able to do so far um, for that football team.
Now, I mean, I'm high on Lamar, but I'm higher on Allen. I mean
Yeah,
I think everybody is.
it's
If
a
you wanted to
tough.
start a team tomorrow, that's the argument you have. But
Yeah, it's a tough argument because they both kind of came in at the same time. Both kind of are building at the same level. Lamar obviously has the MVP award already for a phenomenal season he has already had, and then
here comes Allen's.
he may be on track for his second, or Allen, or you know what, Mahomes also has an MVP, and he is just phenomenal. So that's a great MVP race, I think,
And I think I
so
think
far.
I think that you know a blown lead, as you guys saw my roommate Jack. you don't always blame blown leads on a quarterback. So I think Lamar's played in an elite clip.
Never blame comebacks on quarterbacks, Jack.
Especially
That's what Ethan just said.
if they scored 20, if you score 20 to 21 points in the NFL, I've always believed personally you should be in position to win that game.
Okay. Yeah, no,
So,
I don't think anyone's blaming Lamar.
Correct.
More of their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All you TJ on to the next, baby.
All right. Packers Pats. This is definitely one of the big ones for me. I watched the whole game through and through, and I thought the Packers definitely a little sluggish, but came out with a victory. Yeah, so we had Aaron Rodgers had some post-game comments about his team, and I've been seeing around, in light of it, that people have been upset. You shouldn't say this, shouldn't say this. But in one of the clips, he actually said that he himself needs to play better, and he will play better. So, do you think Aaron Rodgers will start playing better?
I mean,
I have him on my fantasy team. I know it hasn't been that great, but Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He has 4 MVPs, so maybe we shouldn't be doubting him.
You know what?
And they're a great team.
I think Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs. Shout out to my boy Owen Massinence from back home. I think Romeo Dobbs is a difference maker for the Packers. I really, really do think Romeo Dobbs is a difference maker for the Green Bay Packers. And Rodgers has shown you if he trusts the guy, he turns the guy elite, and the guy turns the Packers offense even better because we all know how good Rodgers is.
Seen it multiple times in the past. But do you take anything away from the Patriots? I don't. I believe they're 1-3. Defense is okay. Nothing really going on offense. They can't really.
The Pats record is about as good as they are. They're 1-3.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And I thought this was a very fun game. Rodgers obviously not pleased with the outcome, nor as he should be. Facing a third string quarterback, probably want to take care of business there. They don't. They do end up winning it, field goal in overtime. So that's that.
Rodgers got him a perk before OT and went right down the field. You know how he is.
Yeah.
So, man, that was a good game. But like I said, it'll be Rodgers. I'm never going to bet against him. So that's a guy you can't bet against. And here's a guy that
you also can't bet against.
Ooh.
It's the guy that you also cannot bet against. But what do you think? What do you think about the Colts?
I guess we maybe either agree or disagree. That's the thing is nobody knows. Even we don't know how to feel about the Colts. 1-2-1. I think if you look at a record, it probably couldn't literally look uglier on paper. The ties always look just ugly.
Yeah.
But Houston is not a good football team. Tie.
Well,
Ryan is 5-5 touchdowns a pick. The Titans, I think the jury's out on them. I think we'll keep covering them the rest of the year. We'll see how they go because they still have the king. But the Jags are going to be a decent football team, but you can't lose and get shut out by the Jags. But the Colts always do. And I just, I love Matt Ryan, and I'm a Falcons fan, and I love him. I always love him. I appreciate what he did for Atlanta. But Ryan is not Lamar, and he's not Allen, and he's not Mahomes.
Yeah.
And he's never been.
Great point.
He never will be. And he's old, and he's just getting older. And so he's not going to be the guy that's super dynamic as you maybe saw him 4 or 5 years ago with Atlanta when he won an MVP and the Falcons were rolling. But even then, he had the weapons and he had the guys, and you really just don't know if Indianapolis, they got Taylor, but do they have the guys on the outside? I don't think so.
And I mean, as much as I'm with you, I don't want to, pin it down on Matt Ryan. He definitely hasn't had that great of a year so far. But, you look at Taylor. Taylor's been underproducing for sure. Only 330 yards, 1 touchdown so far. only averaging 4 yards a carry, and that is really good. But they really need him to be that,
Well, he was 1-1 in
almost
every league.
almost 1,500 yards s type running back. I think if they get that production out of him, they should be okay. It's kind of a weak division. And again, kind of going back to like the 49ers and Rams, they're going to play those teams again. So
Yeah,
it looks bad now. I certainly think they can turn it around. Will they? That's the question. We'll see next week. Maybe they can
absolutely.
inch back to 500. We'll see.
2-2-1. That's probably just as ugly as 1-2-1. But I
Yeah.
did see
Yeah.
something before we started recording. Jonathan
Mm.
Taylor ended RB1 last year. I'm not sure if you saw this in fantasy. He was
Yeah.
RB1 through, I guess it's week 4. He was
50.
RB24.
Okay.
Maybe 50.
No,
Okay, maybe it's different leagues. I saw NFL fantasy. But regardless, he was low last year and
yeah.
turned it all the way on through the stretch of the season. The Colts, they
Yeah.
played physical all
And
last year. And
that's
maybe
definitely
they'll do
something
it again
important
and
to
get
look
back
at.
to their bread and butter. And that's
Yeah.
what's going to happen. So I guess we'll see. The jury's out, but gosh, that record is just ugly, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's not a good record.
Now to your home base, NFC East.
Yeah.
Talk to me, baby.
All right, baby. Here we go. Well, question of the week. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC? What do
No,
you think here?
they're not the best team in the NFC. We'll get into it later, but no, that's
Yeah,
my immediate
I
answer.
don't think so either. It's the Cowboys, baby. My team. Die on a hill for them. How good is their defense? Is it legit enough to, if they play the Rams and they play the Eagles, is it legit enough to beat the Eagles? Rams, we'll take that for what it is for right now. Probably not going to get too much out of that game, but let's kind of preview a little to week 6. It's a huge week. Dallas plays Philly. I'm pretty sure the game is in Dallas. Not 100% sure, but what do you think? Dak should be back.
Well, I mean, you're skipping over the defending champions. I mean, y'all do have a matchup this week, which
Yeah,
if I'm you, if I'm a Cowboys fan, if I'm, Skip Bayless, you
yeah,
lose this game, you're all right with it. Yeah, I mean, you got to be all right with it.
yeah.
As
So
long
that's
as you
what I'm.
don't get embarrassed in any kind
Yeah.
of way, you got to be all right with it. And then,
So
like you said, to week 6,
the game's in LA. Okay, the game is in LA. So again, we'll take that for what it is.
play hard. Play hard. All you got to see is you want to see no injuries. You want to see a team play. I mean, it's the NFL. It's 18-week season, 17-game season now. And,
Yep.
you'll take your lumps. And if you get out of a game like you got against the Rams this weekend healthy, you walk into week 6.
Yeah.
You don't know where Dak's at, but you'll see then. You'll know then. You'll hear it on every show where Dak's at.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
the Cowboys have to make a choice. So we'll see week 6.
Week 6 game is in Philly. Just got word of that. So let's just. I got a question for you. I mean, what do you think when Dak returns? What do you think the outlook of it is? Do they pick up more pace than they already have? They've won 3 in a row, beating the Bengals, beating the Commanders, beating the Giants. So, what do you take from that?
I guess if you're a Cowboys fan or a football fan, you assume that Dallas probably goes 3-0 through these last 3 with both quarterbacks. Now,
Yeah, most likely.
I think week 5 tells you a lot about how good Dallas, the football team, is. Maybe not as much how good Cooper Rush, the quarterback, is. He's a game manager. You watch football games. That's how they use him. He's done a great job, but it's the the indictment on every quarterback.
It's just the Rams look bad. So the Rams look bad. But with that being said, I think Cooper Rush struggles a little. Probably turns the ball over once or twice. Takes a very untimely sack, and then the controversy is over. We lose the game, we move on, and we go to Philly. So
we'll see. I guess we'll see.
on Dak. We'll definitely keep up to date with his news.
All right.
But all right, let's go.
As we review, as we'll do every Tuesday,
we review the NFL.
Let's give our top 3. Go ahead.
Would you like to go first?
And
do you want to go first?
No, all good. You the guest, man. Come on, all you, brother.
All right, bet. All right, number 3 team in the NFL right now is the Green Bay Packers. It's pretty easy when you look at it. They have Aaron Rodgers again. The same thing happened last year. They lose their first game. Everyone's kind of drawn them out. They end up having a 13-win season. I see the same thing happening here. They have a great defense, great secondary, great line. Let's see what Rodgers does with these, so-called weapons that he's put together. And then we'll see from there. But definitely Packers, team to beat in the NFC right now. Number 2, the Bills. Now the Bills, through 2 weeks, everyone's like they're going to win the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. They trounce the Rams, then they trounce the Titans. Then they lose, but then they bounce back and beat the Ravens. So I think the Bills are great. Josh Allen certainly going to be an MVP, probably front runner for a while if he doesn't actually win the award. They again also have a great defense. And then they have a top 5 receiver. I mean, I'll take it every day, having Allen throwing the ball and some good complementary pieces. Gabe Davis has been good. McKenzie's been good. Dawson Knox has been all right. So, I mean, we'll see. And then number 1, the Chiefs. Maybe people don't actually think this as much as I think they do, but Chiefs are the team to beat. They're the best team. Mahomes is just from another world. And they have Kelsey, arguably a top 5 player. I think we both think he is. So that's sad. They also, for defenses, we'll see on them for sure. I mean, they did just give up 31 to the Bucks. Probably a lot of those points were garbage time.
Scored 41 on that.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the Chiefs manhandled the Buccaneers on Sunday night. So we know that. And I mean, I think you just have to give it to them.
At least for now.
They're playing Mahomes. I don't see them not continuing to win. So maybe if they drastically don't continue to win, we can think about not having them in the top 5-ish. But there's certainly a lot.
That might take a couple of years. For me to not
what do you
respect
think?
them.
Who's your top 3?
All right. Well, similar to you, 1 and 2, I have the Bills and Chiefs, but I have it flipped. I actually have Buffalo at 1 and Kansas City at 2.
Okay.
But I see it as more of a 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
NFC.
That's one of those things that'll change. Maybe next week you see Kansas City dominate again. Maybe Buffalo loses, that changes. But either way, these teams will be in my top 3, top 5 for a while. And at number 3, a team that just blew a lead and has blown a big lead earlier this year. I've got Baltimore.
So come on, man. They're 2-2. What's the vibe about? It's Lamar. I mean, no NFC teams in there. You think the Super Bowl winning team is coming out of the AFC without a doubt? Is that what you're saying?
As of week 4, looking into week 5, I've got Baltimore there. That's just because you don't blow 2 leads. You're kind of looking up at them and you're saying they're 4-0 and they're the best team in football. So I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, we'll keep moving forward, but I'm not going to be the guy that takes stock out of 4 weeks. And I think I've said it the whole year that the Ravens will win the AFC. I think they'll pull off some victories. The Ravens fan base is one of the top fan bases in the NFL, and we'll see where it goes. But I have a lot of faith in Lamar. And if I were to put a number 4 team right now, it'd probably be San Francisco. And I know that's a little odd as well, but I love the way they play. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it was another great Sunday. But what comes before Sunday is Saturday, my favorite day of the week.
Okay.
I know you're a Sunday guy. I'm a Saturday guy. I'm a Georgia Southern student, but I'm a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. My family is season ticket holders. I'll actually be in Athens. I'll be in Athens this week. I've been in Athens, and I was in Atlanta for the Oregon game. And I was in Athens for Sanford, as well as Kent State. So
what do you think here?
I think that the Dogs, you don't turn the ball over. They turn the ball over a little bit too much. And you know what? At some point, maybe you stop blaming turnovers and say, man, we're turning the ball over. You can't blame a turnover. You turned it over. So I'm still high on Georgia. They're a top 4 team this year. Man, I thought they'd run away with it after beating Oregon. But, hey, Georgia is a team that can beat anybody on any given day. There's a couple of teams, but Georgia They've got
Yeah,
championship
yeah.
pedigree. They've got a quarterback that just won it. They've got some players that just won it. So we'll see how it turns
I
out. Like I
mean,
said, I'll be in Athens for Auburn this week. A big blowout would be great, but
and
that's pretty much
definitely,
my take on Georgia.
well, we'll hit back on that. And with the Georgia, I think they're fine, as you'll see from me later for sure. What about Bama? What happened with Bama this week?
Um,
They just
trounced them.
they're legit. Yeah,
I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he said that game was close. And I said, brother, that game was 28-23.
yeah,
If Arkansas gets that stop on that third and 15 or 16, maybe you're talking about a close game, but Jalen
yeah.
Milroe makes a play, shows you
They
how good Alabama is, and makes
they
a
get up
60,
20 and
70-yard
then
run.
yeah, they get up 20 and then you go back down, get down 5, and then they end up winning by 17, 20 points. Um, so you think Milroe? Do you think he can be legit? Do you think he can take them kind of somewhere without Young, or do they need Young? We
If you're
both
talking
watched this game. Like, what's the
if you're
vibe
talking
on Milroe?
about beating Georgia or the Buckeyes or Michigan or Clemson or
Yeah,
somebody down the road, maybe you run into a hostile road environment at, maybe at Mississippi State. I'm not sure if it's home away, but just a game
yeah,
of that nature. I don't think Milroe wins that game himself. I think he can beat everybody but the top 5 or 6 teams because Alabama's just so deep and so good.
yeah.
So we'll
But
see.
they're yeah, I agree. You also though did kind of we're kind of pulling for Arkansas there, obviously, as you should. Um, but yeah, I think that's a great takeaway. All right.
And then the last before we hit on
Yeah.
the Braves and baseball, you got to give the Buckeyes their credit. That's a good football team. They've beaten
Yeah.
up on Notre Dame. They whipped up on the Badgers, who nobody whips up on, and that's a good football team. So let's do it. We were quick on Saturday this week, but let's go top 4.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead,
Yeah,
TJ.
no. So yeah. So for me, number 4 gonna be Clemson. They just, won a huge game under the lights. Very important. Ohio State, number 3, just because they just trounced teams. I mean, 4 consecutive 30-point victories. Maybe it's against Big Ten, blah, blah, blah. Who really knows? But number 2, Bama, just because they're trouncing people. I mean, Young, I could see that being a little bit of a hurdle, but I think Milroe will pave the way until Young probably comes back. And then number 1, still UGA. Uh, Maybe it's a little surprising, maybe it's not. I think teams have a way of winning championship, and then, obviously you never want to lose to a team like Missouri, and they didn't lose, so they did end up winning. Just kind of a little trip up, but nothing to be worried about. I still think they're number 1. They are still the national champs. So, what do you think? Your top 4?
I agree with the Tigers at 4. I think Clemson is where they were a couple of years ago defensively for sure. DJ's playing like a stud, so I could see them being very competitive down the road. Obviously, I see them winning the ACC and winning out in those games. You got the Buckeyes at 3, dominant team. I'm excited to see them play a couple more
Yeah.
big games, but the Big Ten may be uncompetitive this year other than them and Michigan. We'll just have to see. I have Georgia at 2 because I'm a Georgia
Okay.
fan and I don't like being above Bama when we play Bama. And Bama's 1.
That's fair.
And I
Fair
still think
reason.
Georgia should be number 1. I have them at 2 because that's where they're rated. And I guess I agree with it. If you barely beat a team that's not a really, really good football team like Mizzou, you should get bumped.
Yeah.
So Bama 1, Georgia
And
2, Buckeyes
I
3,
can
Clemson 4.
I think I can get you there, get with you there, same eye level, but you got to beat the champs first. These games are tough when you've won so many consecutive regular season games. They do become tough.
Absolutely.
7:30 at Missouri. No one's there or anything, so it's tough. All right, let's hit on baseball for quickly. Let's hit on it pretty quickly here.
Real quick, yeah, let's jump on it. Braves. You can't say enough about the Atlanta Braves this year. I mean, you can't even. As a Braves fan myself, I'm an Atlanta, Georgia guy. The Braves, the Mets didn't choke that division. The Braves took it out of their hands, and I think we'll see how that bodes in the
Yeah,
postseason. But you got to be proud to be a Braves fan, and hopefully they take care of business tonight and get it done. But either way, what a series by the
I
Braves.
did.
And
Yeah, I agree. Braves, Mets just completely, unraveled, but not unraveled, at their own hand. It was at the hand of the Braves. They touched on their best pitchers and nothing more you can ask for, right before October. It's definitely should be looking up for the Braves, and we'll see what happens,
One win.
come the next few weeks.
One win.
Yeah.
We've seen worse in
They're
Atlanta.
playing,
So
they're playing right now, and I'm pretty sure the Mets have already won their first game. But
they have.
do you want to move on, or is there anything else you have to say about the
I'd
Braves?
say, yeah, that's all. That's all Atlanta for me. They got to win one more game, and then let's celebrate.
Yeah. I can meet with you there. All right. It's a big thing for me, as you know. Aaron Judge. That's 61 homers right now. There's 2 games to play, roughly anywhere between 8 to 10 at bats. They're playing. They should have. We'll have to cut that out, but they're playing at 8-10 against the Rangers. I can't see the Rangers throwing anyone good, but let's see if he does it. What do you think? Do you think he does it?
Nope.
Okay.
No, and I don't think there's much expansion on that. He's had his time. He's had his
and
bats. He's not. He may do it, but I don't think he's gonna do it.
And I'll definitely meet you there. I want him to do it so bad, but the pressure's really on, and New York is really screwing him out of this. And I hate to see it for sure. As a baseball fan, I'd love to see it. As you know, I've been tuning into most of that bats, but I just don't think he's going to do it. All right.
So for the last
segment,
let's we're gonna do this every week. So what we'll do is on Tuesdays, we'll talk about the performance. We're gonna call it the performance you didn't see coming. This could be baseball, this could be basketball when it comes around, college, NFL, MLB. On Thursdays, we'll preview our guests. It's almost like we'll talk about props, we'll talk about some games, we'll preview our guests, but on Tuesdays we'll review. So we're calling it the performance you didn't see coming. Me personally, my fantasy tight end, TJ Hawkinson. I mean, the guy is a 10-point stud every single week. And he goes out there and he goes 12 targets from golf, 8 catches, 179, and 2 touchdowns, as well as a 2-point conversion in a 45-point scoring effort from the Lions, which, of course, as your guy, who you didn't see coming, tell us the rest.
Rashad Penny, baby. Rashad Penny, I mean, give the guy some love. I mean, who knows this guy? He's a third stringer, like, lifetime. He's on the Seahawks, 17 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and more importantly, a win against Hawkinson's Lions. Seahawks are 2-2. What's to say about that?
I get they're one of the teams. Maybe when we get to week 10 or 11, we'll touch on the Seahawks.
Yeah, or not, but we'll see how that goes then. But
man, what